Good morning, my dear friends. The sun is shining, it's summer, so you can sit down and watch. Watch this episode, because in this episode there will be a lot of beautiful plant suggestions. I'll try to introduce you to 4 plant combinations that work very well in my garden and look fantastic in the summer. And I'll tell you about these plants. I'll tell you where they should be planted and how well they combine with other plants. Good morning. My dear friends, the first combination, and right away, the queen of ornamental grasses, Stipa tenuissima. Do you really like Stipa tenuissima? I like it too, because it really gives a very interesting, romantic and spectacular effect in the garden. Besides, it looks good for most of the season. Excellent. Here's Stipa in the company of Cupidinca. Cupidinek is that tiny little plant, which here is already partially dried out, but normally during the day, or actually during the first half of the day, meaning from morning until noon, it opens its beautiful lilac violet blue flowers with a dark center and looks absolutely stunning here. However, when it finishes blooming, it has these little cones in a straw silver color, which also look very nice. But it's not just these 2 plants that make up the whole composition here, because the back of this flower bed, or the third plant in this arrangement, is Echinacea. I actually have Echinacea in 2 varieties in that classic color. This is Echinacea magnus, the tall one. And look how good it looks when this Echinacea, which grows up to 1.20 m, even 1.30 m, is in the background in front of the Stipa and in front of a plant that has small flowers growing out of that clump of ornamental grass. These 3 plants really make me want to walk through here even more often. And I really like this shot. Starting with this arrangement, of course, I ask you to write which of these 3 arrangements you like the most. The next arrangement, once again with Stipa in the main row. Why? Because I know that many of you are looking for a combination of Stipa with a plant other than drumstick allium, which is already very well known and loved by everyone. So, on my experimental flower bed, I created such a combination last year, just so I could tell you about it this year. And here's the combination of feathergrass with blazing star and hare's tail grass. That is, with the grass that looks like rabbit tails. An amazing combination, as it turned out. Look how monumental and fantastic this Liatris looks, especially at this time when it's just beginning to bloom. Remember, Liatris is a plant that blooms the opposite way compared to most plants with a spike-like form. Most often, delphinium, snapdragon, and stock start blooming from the bottom, and only at the very end do the flowers at the top appear. But Liatris is an amazing plant that starts blooming in the completely opposite way. That is from the top, and the flowers bloom downward. Look, right now the Liatris looks like little clubs growing out of this whole clump of grass. And in addition, here and there we have hare's tail grass, which is already dried out, but actually looks best in this form. In a moment, I'll show you some shots here against the light, which bring out even more of the mysticism of this combination. So let me know if you like this combination. And I said to write which of these three, but not three, actually 4 combinations, because there will be 4 combinations in this episode, you like the most. The first one with STIP in a more classic form, and here STIP is really, I think, my absolute discovery. And the third combination, I decided that in this third combination there will also be Liatra quasova, but this time Liatra accompanied by very rustic plants. One is Docus carota dara, which is an ornamental carrot that has beautiful creamy burgundy umbels. It looks really good. They create an amazing space. Because this flat umbel, it separates the bed in such a nice way. Between these umbels of ornamental carrot, there's purple top vervain, which everyone knows, and its color matches the blazing star. But I think that if I had white blazing star here, I have it in another part of the garden, it would also look nice here because some of these umbels are a bit bleached. So that combination would work great too. When making these combinations, I focus on having a main flower and complementary flowers, as in any composition. And in this arrangement, Liatris is our main flower. It's a little in the back, but I think this year I'll plant it among these as well. Carrot is an annual, so it self-seeds and you never know where it will grow, but I suspect that since it's here, it will also self-seed here. But in my opinion, it looks quite nice, kind of rustic. Liatris, ornamental carrot, and Patagonian verbena. The last combination is completely different plants. I decided to show you my favorite rose again. And next to my rose, equally beautiful plants are growing, and together they create great compositions. Well, there's nothing simpler than just telling you about it. Kew Gardens is a rose that ranks really high for me in the hierarchy of amazing flowers. Despite not being a fan, I actually rank roses highly. But this isn't an ordinary rose. It's a David Austin rose, but it doesn't look like the classic David Austin roses. A rose with single petals, but when it's in full bloom, it looks a bit like a hydrangea. A very vigorous, beautiful rose that actually blooms all the time. I've already pruned it after that first solid bloom. It's starting its second bloom, and it's doing so accompanied by fantastic lavender this year. Look how beautifully this lavender rises above the rose here. It grew really huge, and right beneath them there's a geranium that's been blooming since May, until the first frost. So it's the Dreamland geranium. Fantastic small lilac pink flowers that actually appear for several months. It covers the ground very well. It is perfect for the edges of flower beds or right in front of a composition like this with roses and lavender. So now you have a full overview of my suggestions of plant combinations. So you can let me know in the comments which of these four combinations you like the most. And if you also write why or which of these presented plants is your favorite, then I will be super happy. Also remember to share these videos. Maybe someone will get inspired and create equally cool, interesting flower beds. See ya!